Kid Mila Falcha, how you all doing? So this is of course Dauntless, our soon to be free to play Behemoth Hunter game on PC made by Phoenix Labs. And I can already see the comments, so I'm going to try and nip a few of them in the bud. Monster Hunter World is of course about to be released, but that shouldn't stop you playing a similar game. Both games can coexist, one being free and one being pay to play. Warframe, Destiny, Battlefield, COD, League, Dota and so on. More choices honestly for us as gamers, which is great. If you burn out on one, then you can jump into the other. Now that's the way I personally feel. It doesn't really annoy me that a different Monster Hunter type of game is being released. On the 8th of December, with the Sharpen Your Skills update, Dauntless is going to see quite a few changes and additions to its game as it moves closer to eventually entering open beta and being free for everyone to play on PC. Because of course it's not free yet, you need to pay to get access to it. And honestly, I would wait for it to be free. With this update we are getting 2 new behemoths, a new weapon, new damage types and also a system that will allow us to enhance our weapons and our armor with different stat weights. The progression system is also getting an overhaul, and of course there will be a winter event to celebrate it as well. The 2 new behemoths will be one big hulking rock beast called Skarn, and the second one is a flying assassin called Karabak. Now Skarn looks like he's going to need a lot of kind of squad synergy to help you bring him down. He's covered in rock armour that you will have to smash off with blunt weapons in order to soften him up and hopefully cut him to pieces, while at the same time avoiding boulders and of course those rock spire attacks as well. Karabak is described as being the assassin of the Behemoth world and will turn the hunter into the hunted, attacking with razor sharp talons, being unpredictable, and apparently it can move at deadly speeds as well, so I don't really exactly cherish the thoughts of fighting him. Both of these new behemoths sound like they're going to need a lot of weapon diversity in your squad in order to kill them, especially with the new damage types being added as well, so hopefully no more chain blade squads. With this update they are also releasing a new weapon called the War Pike, which attacks in slashing strikes and puncturing jabs, but it can also store up its power from each attack and release it with its special attack in an explosive blast to deal a lot of ether damage to the behemoth. It's basically a giant javelin that can shoot. Now with the War Pike being added, it means that we will now have 5 weapon classes in the game. Of course you're going to get different variants of them from each behemoth. You're going to have the sword, the hammer, the chain blades, the axe and of course now the War Pike as well, with more being planned further down the line. Now weapons will now deal different types of damage which can help stagger, remove limbs and of course soften up the behemoths that you're hunting. Hammers will deal blunt damage which can stagger your targets, break bones and shatter armour, like in the case of Skarn where you break off his rock armour to expose the weakened flesh underneath. Swords, axes and chain blades will deal slash damage which is effective at cutting off tails and of course other body parts of the behemoth that you're hopefully killing. The War Pike inflicts piercing damage which seems to open up weak points on a behemoth that your teammates can hit and of course deal extra damage against that behemoth. So hopefully the addition of these different types of damage models for each weapon will change the way squads run. Like I said, no more 4-man chain blade squads, and it will mean that you might be forced to run with a hammer to break off armor and then bring something in order to chop off a limb, or use the War Pike in order to open up those weak points to kill a behemoth that little bit faster. So it's definitely a welcome change in my opinion. Now the cell system is also being added with this update, and it is a system that is very similar to what we will see in other MMOs, socketing gems that have different stats into your weapons that will augment their damage or their attacks, and socketing cells into your armor that can boost your health or extend your iframes from dodging certain attacks and so on. Basically you can customize your Slayer and its armor and weapons to suit how you like to play, be a damage powerhouse or support your squad, or be a balance of both. It's going to be entirely up to you as the Slayer what way you want to run and what way you want to use that cell system. Now another pretty big change being brought in with the Sharpen Your Blades update is one to the progression system, and it's changing so that we go on patrols now of certain regions and not just advance from one behemoth to the next. These regions are shared by a set of behemoths, which means you could encounter any one of these behemoths from that region while you're completing a patrol. Now they've said that the beginner region will consist of Nashor, Embermane, Drask, Charog and Shrike, which means while you're out on a patrol you're going to get a random one of these. It's not going to be set in stone which behemoth you actually get for that patrol. If you want to hunt a specific beast, then you need to gather intel from these patrols that you can then use to find the location of that behemoth that you want to hunt. Certain loot or crafting items are now region wide and drop from each monster on that region, with the exception of course of specific behemoth parts like horns, scales and so on. Now with the Sharpen Your Skills update, we're also going to be seeing daily, weekly and specific challenging hunts for us to complete with friends or on your own, or whichever way you want to run. And of course the matchmaking, they've said, is also going to be hugely improved as well. So that's what to expect in Dauntless from the 8th of December, also with the winter event they're going to be adding as well. If you're not part of the closed beta yet, then don't worry, there is always keys being given out on different websites and by Phoenix Labs themselves. It is going to be 100% free to play. They removed the kind of loot box system from it a while ago and have promised to follow the same free to play model as Warframe, which for me is absolutely great news. Now do me a huge favour and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Dauntless, and as always, thanks very much for watching.